Hello, everybody. Welcome to the live stream. So, I had heard and seen online through all of these social media sites people commenting, saying they're wondering about, some said they're going to do it, some said they're wondering about it, some are questioning whether this is a good idea. I'm in total shock that this is going on right now. I'm in shock. But then again, nothing really shocks me anymore, to be honest, because after what happened to Charlie Kirk, after 9/11 and the Boston Marathon, after Mark Carney, the Prime Minister of Canada, getting elected, well, I guess since the Liberals, they fixed all the elections in Canada, I guess that wasn't too shocking. But, um, nothing really shocks me too much anymore. But this is again another thing to make me go, okay. So there's two sides to this, like there always is. There's one side of people that are saying this is meant as a tribute, which, okay, so there were people who dress up like Elvis on Halloween. They dress up like Obama. There's people who dress up like Trump. There's people who dress up like Nikola Tesla, right? Nikola Tesla's my idol. Major scientists. All my idols, I worship scientists, mathematicians. I love Albert Einstein, Nikola Tesla, all the great legendary scientists. So, in fact, I didn't, but growing up, I definitely could have seen myself dressing up with like Nikola Tesla. So, I guess I could see the tribute side to this. I could see people claiming it's a tribute thing. And also, when they sell the masks, if they raise money and donate the money to charity, then you know, I guess that is then a tribute, right? I guess if the company that makes these masks, when they sell the Charlie Kirk stuff, if then they use the money for good and send it to charity, or at least a big portion of it to charity, or Turning Point, right? Then I could see that side of the argument. However, and there's a big but, a big but, okay, big but. However, in the same sense of the people who were dressing up like Obama, which people, I'm not talking about the people who did a legitimate tribute to Obama, right? Because there are people who literally love Obama and will dress up and dress up at a Halloween party like Obama because they really love Obama. Like there's people that will dress up like Obama just as like an homage, right? But then there's also that group of people. I didn't say white people. I didn't say white people. But there's a group of people that also dressed up like Obama, but for different reasons. So I'm gonna go ahead and say it. As a Canadian, I am not going to be telling Americans what they can and cannot do. No way. Heck, even if Americans said they wanted to make Canada the 51st state, who knows? I pretend like I'm all tough, and then as soon as they come to the border, I'd be like, start running up to the northern part of Canada, Halifax or the Yukon territories or whatever. Or probably I'll probably just go to Denmark. At that point, I might as well just go all the way to Denmark. So clearly, this is a serious discussion, and I'm very for freedom of speech. And I do think, in my opinion, if Charlie Kirk were to respond to this, and like I said, this just is my opinion. This is based on what I know about Charlie Kirk. I'm a fan of Charlie Kirk. I supported Charlie Kirk. I'm a conservative. I'm a Canadian conservative. Not all Canadians are liberals. Not all Canadians are liberals. I am a conservative Canadian. I support Charlie Kirk. Support Charlie Kirk. I support Candace Owens. I support JD Vance. I support Trump. I support Megyn Kelly. I support Tucker Carlson, especially during this time when he's facing so much heat from Israel. I especially support Tucker Carlson. In fact, I really like Tucker Carlson. I used to watch him religiously on Fox News, and well, you know what I mean by religiously. Anyway. I'm not really anyway. I'm more science. I'm more spiritual. I'm more of a spiritual person, and but I was raised Catholic. I was raised Catholic, but I'm more spiritual. And I'm a scientist, actually, really. I'm a scientist mathematician. Like I said, Fibonacci, Enrico Fermi, Leonardo da Vinci, all those people, Galileo Galilei, Thomas Edison. I hear different stories about Thomas Edison, but anyways, Nikola Tesla for sure. Nikola Tesla, my ultimate science idol. Albert Einstein, Nikola Tesla, and even the modern scientists like Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's great. I also, in a way, I mean, I'm starting to consider Maya Bialik from The Big Bang Theory since she really does have a degree in neuroscience. That's pretty impressive. So Maya Bialik from The Big Bang Theory, she's a neuroscientist. So yeah, basically, this is a big discussion. And sorry, I was trying to answer the question here. Hold on. What do I think Charlie Kirk, how he would respond to people paying tribute to him on Halloween? If it's really for tribute, if they're really doing it because they're doing tribute, just like people did it for Elvis, people did it for all these other legends, right? I've even seen people dress up like Jesus for Halloween, right? So clearly, if that's not blasphemy, if people dressing up like Jesus for Halloween is not blasphemy, then I don't know what is. At least they weren't dressing up like Satan, like I've seen a lot of people dress up like Satan on Halloween. So, anyways, the question is how do you think Charlie Kirk would respond to this? Well, we know that Charlie Kirk was for freedom of speech. He made that very clear that Charlie Kirk was for freedom of speech. So, in my opinion, I don't think he would tell people, oh, you can't do something, or you can't say something, or you can't express yourselves. Because Charlie Kirk was like the number one freedom of speech guy. He was so much for freedom of speech that he was going against, he was, well, not to say he was going against, but he was definitely wasn't afraid to call out Israel or criticize Israel where it was due, right? So, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, but this is my opinion. I mean, this is, I mean, heck, he said it on his in his videos, Charlie Kirk. He said he's for freedom of speech. That's not a lie. So, if we just look at the Charlie Kirk videos, he's for free speech. So I don't think he would, and especially if it's really being done as part of a tribute. If it's really being done as part of a tribute, and people are paying respects to him just like they did for Elvis when they dressed up like Elvis, when they dressed up like Trump. I saw a lot of Trump masks, and those were real Trump supporters. I actually on Halloween many times saw people dress up like Trump because they were Trump supporters. So if it's really being done as a tribute, then okay. But like I said, I'm a Canadian and I'm not going to tell Americans they can't do something. No, no way, as a Canadian, am I going to tell Americans they can or cannot do something. I'm going to say what I would do, and because I obviously I have control over my own life, and I can say what I can and cannot, what I would do. And what I would do is I I wouldn't do it personally, but I also wouldn't tell other people they can't do it. You understand? I wouldn't tell other people, oh, don't do that. I would never say that. And I would not, no. Especially if they're really doing it as a tribute. I mean, if they're really doing it as a tribute to Charlie Kirk, then of course, do it, right? I supported Charlie Kirk. I was a huge fan of Charlie Kirk, right? So that's my opinion on that. But at the same time, people, I just have a feeling they're gonna like Megyn Kelly as soon as she picks up the story, as soon as Candace Owens and Trish Reagan, Tucker Carlson. Well, actually, Tucker Carlson has bigger problems to worry on right now. Tucker Carlson has bigger problems to worry about right now with Israel going up his, you know what. Anyways, up his, you know what. You know what I mean. I think you know what I mean. Anyways, uh, once all of these major news media outlets, especially MSNBC, and MSNBC, like they're probably going to be the ones actually wearing, anyways, but not as a tribute, if you know what I mean. So this is going to be a big controversy before, during, after, even after Halloween, even at Christmas time, even years later down the road. This is going to be a big this debate, just like people who dressed up like Obama on Halloween was a big debate, right? So my answer to this is I'm a Canadian, and oh heck no, I'm not going to tell Americans what they can and cannot do. I'm going to say what I think, what I would do, if like what I would and wouldn't do. And personally, it's not my style to do it as part of a tribute. I would do a tribute in other ways, right? So if I'm going to do a tribute, I would make a wonderful video. I would make a tribute video. That's how I do tributes. But other people express themselves in other ways. And so obviously, I wouldn't tell someone if they wanted to do a tribute in another way, oh, you can't do that. I would never say that. I would never. I'm one of the biggest supporters of free speech. And that's also why I supported Charlie Kirk, because he was for free speech. Charlie Kirk was for free speech. I'm for free speech. And and my free speech, I also have the right to say what I think is appropriate, and I am for free speech. So I just want to say, if they're really doing it as a tribute, then great. But I also want to say, and I like this is just me. Like I said, I'm for free speech. I'm not telling people they can't do something. But I also want to say, in my opinion, because I have the freedom of speech to say my opinion. That's my free speech. People who would do it as not as a tribute, but as a for a different, but for different reasons, if you know what I mean. People who would do it as not as a tribute, but for different reasons. Um, that's when we all go to heaven, you may have to answer some questions in heaven. You might be in heaven with the investigators in heaven. When those investigators in heaven are determining who can go through the gates of heaven, who can come into heaven, they might ask you at the gates of heaven, hey, so we noticed a few years ago or whatever that you dressed up like Charlie Kirk for Halloween. And we're just wondering, did you do that as a tribute or were you doing it for a different reason? And I think in heaven, they probably would be like, I think that in heaven, they're all knowing, right? They're all knowing in heaven. So I think they kind of would know more or less if you were lying to them. So definitely don't lie in heaven. When you go to heaven, tell the truth. Because if you want to get into heaven, you should not lie to those people. Because they will send you back down to you know where. They will just, pull the lever. Next thing you know, you drop from the clouds in heaven and go straight down to you know what. So just keep that in mind. In my opinion, like I said, I'm for free speech. I'll never tell someone they can't do something. But hey, if you want to get into heaven and you're doing stuff that will prevent you from getting into heaven, I mean, just keep that in mind. I mean, I want to get into heaven. So I strive every day to be like a good person. So I'm going to go to comments now because I have a feeling there will be a lot. Let's go. Start from the top. Aaron Clark came in and Aaron said hi. Aaron Clark said, yeah, but some people will be dressed up with, oh, oh, yeah. No, Aaron, I agree with you. People are going to do it like that. But, like, I wouldn't want to read the full comment. That's just, so I can't handle seeing blood. I get really queasy when I see blood. So I've always wanted to learn about, what it's like to be a doctor, right? And I watch all of those medical dramas like Grey's Anatomy, where they portray all the doctors as incompetent. And of course I watched McDreamy and McSteamy and McIrish and Mick all of them. I watched all of the McDreamies on Grey's Anatomy. But I can handle, and I also watched ER by the way, ER with George Clooney. But I can't really handle seeing the blood. And also that Nip Tuck with the Australian actor and the other actor they were men, like those were men, alpha guys, alpha males, right? So I watched Nip Tuck, I watched Grey's Anatomy, but I can't handle seeing blood. Blood makes me so I someone just came in now to the live stream and their comment was about, oh well, but some of those people who do wear the Charlie Kirk costume, they're gonna be have you know what I mean? So like just when I saw that comment, it just almost because I can't handle seeing blood. It like when I see it on those medical dramas like Grey's Anatomy, when I see them doing, I know they're not real surgeries, but when they're doing like the surgery TV versions of surgeries on Grey's Anatomy, Nip Tuck, and all that, I can't handle those parts, seeing the blood. So yeah, I'm definitely So anyways. I can't handle seeing blood. But anyways, so let's go back to comments. Determined, determined came in and said he wasn't for freedom of speech. He constantly told people, "You can't say that. That's not free speech." I've never seen a video where he told. I mean, you might be right. I mean, I haven't seen every single video that Charlie Kirk has ever done, But I've never seen a video. So I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh no, you're wrong. Because I haven't seen every single video Charlie Kirk has ever done. But at the same time, I have never ever seen a video where he's told someone where he denied free speech or he tried to take someone's free speech away. I've never seen that. So if you're right, please post that video because I've never ever seen a video like that. Never. So if you are right that Charlie Kirk was said something against free speech, then I've never seen that video. So as far as I know, Charlie Kirk was for freedom of speech. That's as far as I know. I've never seen a video where he was against freedom of speech. I've never seen a video like that. Like I said though, obviously I haven't seen every single video that Charlie Kirk did, so I wouldn't know for sure. Go back to comments. A guy came in with a funny name. I can't even say his name. You know what I mean? Like I'm for free speech. I'm not gonna block anyone. In fact, I encourage all comments. I love discussion, but there's certain things that I can't say. And also, like I said, just was saying, like when someone made the comment about blood, I even want to read out the comment because seeing blood or hearing about blood just makes me queasy. I also get seasickness, by the way. I've always wanted to go on one of those cruises. Not a gay cruise. Anyways, I've always wanted to go on one of those cruises, right? But I'm scared of like the sea. I get seasickness and stuff, so I can't handle seeing blood. I couldn't handle being on a cruise because I get seasickness. So I couldn't handle going into outer space. I've always wanted to be an astronaut, but then you realize that you have to be able to not throw up when you go in outer space, right? So that's another consideration. But I still want to work in astronomy one day, get a good job doing astronomical stuff. So, anyways, uh, Rose came in. Rose said a lot of comments. Thank you for your comments, Rose. Like I'm not going to sit here and say I agree with you or I disagree with you, but I'm just going to say thank you for your comments. So I do also think that. So I just want to say something right now in defense of certain people. First off, I am not a witch. I am not a witch. But there is a religious organization called Wicca. And there are many women who describe themselves and they are part of this religious organization called Wicca, which is they believe they're witches. Now, I just want to point out that there are good witches and bad witches out there. Just like this movie illustrates, Wicked, The Wizard of Oz, all of these movies, they show portrayals of good witches and bad witches. There are good witches, there are bad witches. Not all witches are bad, I just want to say. Megyn Kelly, I recently watched the Megyn Kelly where she talked about there was this group called, or some company or something called Etsy, where people were like paying to put a hex on Charlie Kirk, which, oh my God, I can't believe people would do that. And, Megyn Kelly, she started saying witches, like witches, but really, like, listen, I'm full on with Megyn Kelly. I full on agree with Megyn Kelly that that is gross what people were doing with that whole hex stuff. I agree with her. But I hope Megyn Kelly doesn't literally do a literally, oh, this is a literal witch hunt. This is a literal witch hunt. Oh, we have found a literal, after people like Megyn Kelly have put, no, 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 not people like Megyn Kelly, sorry. After so many women, wait, sorry, not women, sorry. After so many people, can I say people? After so many people have put a gay witch hunt over me, I've been a victim of so many gay witch hunts. Gay witch hunts. Who's gay? Is he gay? Is he gay? Is he gay? For some reason, it matters to these drunk housewives. My sexuality matters to these drunk housewives. So I'll just say yes. I do like your husband, but like the ones who are like the alpha males. The ones who could. Anyway. So since I've been a victim of all these gay witch hunts, now I see Megyn Kelly and she is almost about to like it's almost seeming like maybe she's gonna start a real witch hunt. And remember, we had witch hunts, we had the Salem witch trials, they were real witch hunts after witches. Because the way Megyn Kelly said it was she said, they're witches. They're self-described as witches. They're witches, right? And I just want to point out that, listen, there are definitely bad witches. There are definitely bad witches that I don't agree with. I don't agree with bad witches. But there is a whole organization of a religious organization called Wicca. And I'm for religious freedom. I'm for freedom of speech. I'm for freedom of religion. Just as we have to respect all religions, we're supposed to respect, we don't have to agree with them, but we're supposed to respect them, the right to have them, freedom of religion, right? So, uh, I'm not going to say Judaism. Actually, I'm just going to stop talking right there. Let me just say this. These are all the religions that I love. If I accidentally not included a religion, then I just forgot to say their name. I love Christians. I love Catholics. I love I love Christians. I love Catholics. I love Muslims. Oh, my fellow I'm not a Muslim, sorry. I love Christians, I love Catholics, I love Muslims. I love even, I think Scientologists are not that bad compared to another big country group of people that, is after Tucker Carlson right now. And Tucker Carlson, I like Tucker Carlson. So I like Christians, I like Catholics, I like Muslims, I like Buddhists. Oh, those Buddhists are very enlightenment. Have you ever really done real meditation? It's great meditation, enlightenment. You could really, anyways, when you do meditation, real enlightenment. So, I know people who are Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm not gonna say I love those people because I kind of heard that they might be a cult, but I basically, bottom line is I respect freedom of religion or freedom for people to be atheists and say they don't believe in God. That's their freedom. That's their right to. That's their free speech. Um, Now, I definitely don't agree with what the Israeli government has been doing and their genocide in Gaza. I don't agree with that 100%. I'm against genocide. Just like Candace Owens says, genocide is wrong. And it's totally wrong what is the Israeli government is doing to the genocide that they're doing in Gaza. That's wrong against the Palestinians. So I'm not an expert in that conflict. I'm not an expert in the Israeli Palestinian conflict. I'm more of an expert in Russia, Ukraine. I studied Russian for years. I speak fluent Russian. So I'm more of an expert in that area, Russia, Ukraine. But I'll just say I'm against genocide. Generally speaking, of course, I'm a good person. I want to get into heaven, and I'm against genocide. So I hope that answers the question. I think I went off there for a minute, but I not went off. I think I got sidetracked. So let's go back to comments. I also believe that telling people they can or can't do something, that just screams government. That just screams crazy government. That screams dictatorship. So I'm definitely against that. I'm against any government that acts like a dictatorship, especially in China, where they have, is he a little dictator or a big dictator? Anyways, the Chinese president, they clearly refer to him as a dictator. But and let's just say something quickly here. And the let's I always try to find something positive to say about even people you disagree with or your so-called who you perceive as your enemies. Um I'm not saying China's my enemy, but I'm just gonna say this. At least, and like this is the one positive thing I can find to say about these people, is at least they're openly dictators. Like at least, China is open about it. You go to China, they tell you they're upfront with you. What's even worse than being an open dictator is the countries that pretend to be democratic. Oh, we're democratic. Oh, the right to vote. Oh, we're Democrats and we're for free speech. And then you go to those countries and you realize they're not democratic. They're not for freedom of speech. They are a bunch of dictators. Big dictators. Big dictators. You know, big dictators. And so at least with China, and this is like the one positive thing I could find to say about, because I'm trying to, I'm trying to get into heaven. I'm trying to, I could not forgive that guy. Like, Eric Kirk, she forgave him. And just like Candace Owens said, she wouldn't be able to forgive him. There's so many people that I've talked to that publicly said that, well, no, I never talked to Candace Owens, but what I'm saying is, there's so many people that agree that they would not be able to forgive someone like that. But Erica Kirk had the courage and strength and humility and nobility and how many other words can I use to describe what a gracious, wonderful thing, what a gracious, wonderful person she is. I don't, like I said, I wouldn't be able to forgive and I wouldn't be able to forget either. I won't forgive, I won't forget. Um, so I wouldn't forgive and I wouldn't forget someone doing that. So Erica Kirk, she's definitely the embodiment of a Christian, or is she a Christian? Is she? I'm not. She's the embodiment of a wonderful, good person. Whether she's Lutheran or Protestant or Catholic or Christian, because there's so many or Presbyterian. There's so many different branches, right? Whatever the specific denomination she is, the one thing that is very clear in everyone's eyes, and you could see it in her soul, you could see it in her soul, that she is a good person. So I don't, like I said, I don't know exactly. I can't remember if she was Presbyterian or she's Catholic, but or Christian, but she's definitely a good person. But I wouldn't be able to forgive a bad person like that. Not Erica Kirk, the guy who allegedly did. See, the thing is um, right now, Candace Owens, she is definitely poking holes in the story of the feds. And I almost want to say I wouldn't be able to forgive the feds for because I kind of believe the feds did it. I believe the American feds did it. So when I'm about to say, uh, you know, I almost want to say, hey, Erica Kirk, you had so much strength to be able to forgive the feds like that for doing, you know what I mean? Like, because I actually believe it was the feds who did it. Like, I really believe the feds did it. So maybe that's why it was even easier for Erica Kirk to forgive Tyler, because maybe deep down inside, Erica actually believes the feds did it. There's such a thing as like intuition sometimes. Really, there is. And so if when, and I'm hoping she does, I hope Candace Owens rips the feds apart in the sense that she's going to expose them. I don't mean like expose them like, you know make them walk around like, and shame and make them walk around naked off the street. I don't mean like expose them like that, obviously. All these naked feds like being, you know like they used to do in old medieval times, like in medieval times, in the olden times, when they wanted to shame the men, and then they made them walk naked. And I'm not gonna, no, obviously I don't mean it like that. I didn't mean it like that. I didn't mean expose them in that way. What I meant was when Candace Owens exposes the feds, the American feds, for all of the stuff that they have done secretly, all of the evil stuff that the American feds have done, then once Candace Owens, because I do believe Candace Owens will expose these people. I do believe Candace Owens will expose the demons, these evil feds, these American feds that are demons. And I believe once Candace Owens does, and when it's all on the table, when it's all hanging out, when these American feds have been exposed and it's all hanging out, then, then I wonder if people will be very quickly to forgive, especially when people realize and discover it wasn't just what they did to that guy. It was many people. Many people around the world have been victims of the feds. The American feds, especially. The American feds have gone after Russians. The American feds have gone after Germans. The American feds have gone after French people. The American feds have gone after Japanese. The American feds have gone after Canadians. The American feds have gone after those nice Swedish people. Those nice Swedish people. I think they're nice, anyways. I met some really nice Swedish people, anyways. I don't work for Sweden or anything, anyways. The American feds went after Muslims, Islamists. The American feds went after Scientologists. The American feds went after people from the Illuminati. The American feds, the American feds, the American feds. The American feds went after so many people that, like, I was about to say people like Obama. You know what I mean by people like Obama. Gay guys? Anyways, okay, Obama's not gay, but obviously there's a lot of gay men that, like, anyway, to think that Obama, I mean, no, actually there was in Fox News. Remember in Fox News about 5, 6 years ago, Tucker Carlson? Tucker Carlson had a guy on his show who allegedly had an affair with Obama. You remember that? People have short attention spans. People have such short attention spans these days. So it was about 6, 7 years ago. I mean, no, I'm not exactly sure which year Tucker Carlson did this whole interview, but I remember it was within the approximately last 10 years, right? Tucker Carlson interviewed a man on the Tucker Carlson show. It was either on Fox News or the Tucker Carlson show, one of the two, but it was Tucker Carlson for sure. For sure, I know it was Tucker Carlson that did it because I watched that whole interview. I'm like, oh my God, really? A man is claiming to have slept with Obama, the president, right? How lucky is no, not how lucky is he? I didn't say how lucky is he, anyways. But so Tucker Carlson did a whole expose on Obama, exposing Obama for allegedly. I mean, there's nothing really to expose. I mean, Obama is free to sleep with whoever he wants. I mean, at least he has better, you know. Anyways, so Obama is free to sleep with men. If Obama wants to sleep with men, he can. Obama could probably get any guy he wants, right? Um, so Tucker Carlson did a whole expose on Obama potentially being gay. Now that I think about it, what was Candace Owens? What was her take on that? Uh, did she? And what was Megyn Kelly? And what was Trish Reagan? I'm gonna Google this. I'm gonna Google this after the live stream. I'm gonna Google how did Megyn Kelly respond to the accusations that Obama had slept with a man. And how did Trish Reagan and Candace Owens? I wonder how all these people, how they responded to this. But Tucker Carlson, he definitely wasn't judgmental. I don't think Tucker Carlson was doing it to try to out anybody or out Obama. I think Tucker Carlson felt the need as a real journalist who will say anything, and that's why I love Tucker Carlson. I have a big respect for Tucker Carlson. And I think Tucker Carlson is just the type of person that just says everyone's fair game. It's all fair game in the news. In the news, in the battle room, in the news battle room, in the newsroom, everything's a fair game. Obama's fair game, Trump's fair game. And Tucker Carlson, he is, in my opinion, he is a great journalist because he actually is not afraid to go there, right? He's not going to be shut up by Obama and the Obama administration. Tucker Carlson is not afraid. He's clearly not afraid to go there with Israel because Israel's about to have a discussion with Tucker Carlson. And so Israel's about to have a discussion with Tucker Carlson. So clearly Tucker Carlson's not afraid to go there. He's not afraid to go there with Obama. I don't mean go there with Obama like Tucker Carlson slept with Obama. That's not what I said. What I'm saying, he's not afraid to go there with Obama like with the whole exposing Obama for potentially sleeping with a man. Okay, anyways. off of that, enough of that topic. But let's just say Tucker Carlson has balls. Tucker Carlson has big balls, probably bigger than Obama. Tucker Carlson has big balls because Tucker Carlson, like, he did the expose on Obama potentially being gay. Tucker Carlson is calling out Israel for all of the stuff Israel's doing and has done in the genocide. And I agree with Tucker Carlson. I agree with Tucker Carlson. Like that, he's right. Tucker Carlson's right. This genocide that Israel's doing is so wrong. You know, I'm against genocide. Clearly, Candace. So everyone's. I mean, every person who wants to get into heaven is against genocide. Like every good person who wants to get into heaven is against genocide. So clearly, Tucker Carlson, he's gonna get into heaven. I really believe. No, no, I mean when he. Okay, no, I mean like Tucker Carlson's a great guy. Okay, I love Tucker Carlson, and I love Candace Owens, and I love Megyn Kelly, and I love all the conservatives. I love everyone. Just in general. No, I don't love everyone. Okay, I love all the good people. I love everyone who's a good person. Okay, I love good. I don't love the evil people. I don't love the bad witches, and there are such a thing as bad witches, and there are such a thing as bad trolls. There are good trolls, there are bad trolls. There are good witches, there are bad witches. There are good leprechauns, there are bad leprechauns. Although all the leprechauns kind of freak me out. Anyways, there are good leprechauns, there are bad leprechauns, there are good trolls, there are bad trolls, there are good witches, there are bad witches. Um, okay, let's go back to comments. And yeah, so there are people coming in saying, oh, like, you know, people are trying to say he's just another person. But you know what? This opens up the dialogue, the discussion to say that this is what they're doing, what the deep state, and keep in mind the deep state, like they got people everywhere. Like the deep state, they got people probably in Canada, where I'm from. The deep state has people in Russia. The deep state has people everywhere. The deep state, they're everywhere. The deep state, okay? And they're liars. The deep state, like they're professional liars. Like it's crazy how liars the deep state are. They're actors. They're professional actors. They're liars. And so the deep state is everywhere. The deep state it's wrong what the deep state is doing, how they are suppressing freedom of speech. They are promoting all of this crap to people. They're trying to indoctrinate everyone. They're trying to inseminate. They're trying to, anyways, vaccinate everyone with these experimental vaccines, right? So it's so wrong what the deep state, all of the evil stuff the deep state is doing. So at least this opens up the discussion about the deep state and about, you know, but like I said, I grieve for everybody. Nobody should be victims of the deep state. Nobody. And the deep state has a lot of casualties. The deep state, there's a lot of victims of the deep state. Like I was saying, the deep state has went after Germans. The deep state has went after Russians. The deep state has went after Iranians. The deep state has went after Canadians. The deep state has went after aliens from outer space, probably. The deep state went after aliens from outer space. The deep state has gone after everybody. Um, the deep state has gone after Republicans, probably, and Democrats, and conservatives, and liberals. Whoever crosses the deep state, basically. Whoever crosses the deep state. And actually, you know what would be interesting, an interesting series, which I may or may not do actually, now that I think about it, is maybe there could be a checklist of like when okay, I don't read Cosmopolitan magazine, but for example, how they have those Cosmopolitan magazines where it's like the 10 best ways how to tell if your husband is cheating on you, how to tell if your husband is really loves you, how to tell if the guy that you're dating might want to ask you to marry you, right? There's all of these quizzes, right, that they give to women, right? And be like, oh, how does your guy really love you? And oh, what does it mean if the guy doesn't call you again? Or what does it mean if the guy, um, I don't know, leaves his knickers at your place, right? What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean, right? So I think we could develop a test, a quiz to identify if you suspect that someone's a deep state agent. Now, listen. I'm not saying, I'm just going to use her as an example. I actually like Megyn Kelly. I like Megyn Kelly. I'm just using her name as an example. Let's say, for example, there were people that suspected that Megyn Kelly was a deep state agent, that she works for the deep state, right? Megyn Kelly. What if there were some sort of test or like quiz where it'd be like, is there someone who you suspect might work for the deep state? Well, here, take this quiz, answer these questions, and then they'll do a score at the end, and it'll be like a deep state. Does this person potentially work for the deep state score kind of quiz? Does this person maybe work for the deep state quiz analysis, right? And so you would answer all the questions. Does this person do this? Does this person do that? Is this person shady? Is this person da da blah? Is this person overly talkative? Does this person like to swear a lot? Like, what is it, And they could develop a test. Obviously, it's not going to be an exact science, but like, neither is astrology. Neither is, you know what I mean? A lot of other things. It's not going to be an exact science, of course. We're not going to know for sure 100% if someone's a deep state agent. But also, like those quizzes in Cosmopolitan magazine, they're not 100% accurate. They don't know for sure if the boyfriend's going to really propose to the wife or not, to the girl or not, like his girlfriend. They don't know for sure if the boyfriend's going to really propose to the girlfriend or not either, right? Those Cosmopolitan magazines, they can't really tell for sure if your husband's cheating on you. You gotta hire a private investigator to find out if your husband's really cheating on you or not. He's not cheating on you with me. I mean, your husband is not cheating on you with me, at least. Like, I'm a virgin. I may have thought about it. No, I didn't think about sleeping with any woman's husband. No, I didn't mean, okay. I didn't actually like consider making a plan. Hey, that woman's Megyn Kelly's husband's really hot. Like, I'm gonna, no, I'm gonna stop talking right now. What I'm saying is, what was I saying? I'm completely lost. Right, go back to the quiz, right? To really identify and determine who could potentially be a deep state agent, they could develop. I mean, I'm sure Candace Owens would probably be all over this. Candace Owens, this has Candace Owens' name on it. Developing a quiz to try to figure out who may not be a deep state agent. Like, this is totally something Candace Owens would do, and her whole Candace Investigative Agency, or Candace, her version of the CIA, right? Instead of the Central Intelligence Agency, Candace has the Candace Intelligence Agency. She sells those merch. Candace Owens sells merch on her website. Candace Intelligence Agency, she sells merch, right? So, yeah, I think there could be some sort of test that could be administered to the general public. Be like, hey, do you suspect someone in your life or in a public figure may be a deep state agent? Well, let's go through this checklist of questions, very logical questions. And when you actually add up the scores to the questions and you actually go through the questions, you really start to think about the person. Like, is the person shady? Is the person a hypocrite? Does the person like to change the subject or derail conversations? Does the person have certain limits? They say they're for free speech, but then there's certain things they don't want to talk about. When you actually really go through the deep state agent test, people might actually be for real, being like, oh my God, this person just got a high score as potentially being a deep state agent. But going through the questions of the test, this person really does almost seem like a deep state agent. So like I said, I don't think Megyn Kelly's a deep state agent. I mean, I don't know for sure. I mean, she could be, but I don't think she is. I don't think Megyn Kelly's a deep state agent, but I'm just saying that, Megan Kelly's husband's hot, or her previous. I don't know. I don't know. Is she still married? I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. Anyways, let's go back to comments. Heck, you know what? All men, not all men. Uh, I like it when, men are just like, strong, noble. Like, you know how men in those movies in the 80s, they always used to have men were the heroes. Like, men were strong and tall and masculine, and they were heroes and they had character. A man with character, a man with good character is very attractive, right? I think a lot of women would agree. Well, not all women. There's a lot of women that like the bad guys. There's a lot of women that like to marry the bad guys, right? Women for so many years they love the bad guy thing. They love the bad guys. Women for so many years were attracted to bad guys. But in my opinion, I like a man with character. I like a noble man with character, a knight in shining armor, like in those classes, those 80s movies, those classic 80s movies where the man was the hero and he came in and he had the muscles and he was so strong and so tall and intelligent and articulate and really nice looking. And I miss that. I miss movies where men were the heroes as opposed to the douchebags of today. You have to admit that today's time, there's all of these douchebags out there like Justin Bieber. I'm sorry if you like I'm sorry if you're a fan of Justin Bieber. I'm sorry, but I think he's a douchebag. I think he's a douchebag. Even his songs are douchebaggy. Have you listened to Justin Bieber's songs? Sorry, like one of his songs is like, sorry, sorry, I'm such a douchebag. Like, do you remember that song "Sorry" by Justin Bieber? Justin Bieber did a song something about, oh yeah, he's sorry that he's like, literally it sounded like he was saying he's sorry, he's admitting he's a douchebag. Like, anyways, so I miss it when men were men. I miss it when like in the 19 those typical classic 1980s movies when the men were heroes. The men, like, that song, like I need a hero, like that. Did Bette Midler, was it Bette Midler who sang the I Need a Hero song? But anyways, I miss the day and age when men were heroes. I miss it when men were strong and tall and masculine and they were heroes. They had character. Like, men with character. That's what I like. I like men that are noble men. So I don't like douchebags. I can't stand Justin Bieber's music. His music sounds like douchebaggy. This guy, Justin Bieber, sounds like a spoiled brat. Justin Bieber, I'm sorry, but that's just how I feel. And I also feel the same about Miley Cyrus. Miley Cyrus is a female. Oh, I can't finish that sentence. Well, wait a minute. There are such a thing as female douchebags. That's a whole line. It's a product. That's literally it's a feminine hygiene product. Female douchebags are feminine hygiene products. So there are such a thing as female douchebags. Anyways, I don't like Miley Cyrus. I don't like her music. Like Miley Cyrus could have me whacked. I mean, Miley Cyrus is a billionaire, right? So she doesn't care what my opinion is. But I'm just saying my type of music, what I like. I like rock and roll music. I like Adele. I like powerful singers. I like Carrie Underwood. Oh, I love Carrie Underwood. She's a great singer. She does some really good Christian songs, Carrie Underwood. I love Christian rock music. That's the type of music I like. I like music with character, pretty much. Music with musicians that can sing. Oh my God, Whitney Houston, she could sing. Mariah Carey, she could sing. Even Ariana Grande, yeah, no, Ariana Grande can sing. I don't know about her character, because you remember when Ariana Grande spit on the donuts? Remember that big donut scandal where Ariana Grande spit on the donuts? I don't know about Ariana Grande's character, but I will, call a spade and say Ariana Grande can sing. So, like I said, I don't know Ariana Grande's character per se because that was sketchy what she did with the donuts. Remember that big scandal? But I will say Ariana Grande, she can sing. Christina Aguilera, she can sing. Adele, she can sing. Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, Celine Dion. Oh my God, Celine Dion, she can sing. So I respect and admire musicians and singers that have good character, that can actually sing, and are nice to their fans, and are respectful, and are nice, good people, right? I don't like Justin Bieber. He's a douchebag. I'm sorry if you like Justin Bieber. I I never liked him. I always thought he was a douchebag. I always thought Justin Bieber was a total douchebag. He's not like a noble character. Like he's not gonna like if a woman's in trouble and needs a man's help, you're not gonna see Justin Bieber running in like to save the day. In my opinion, I would never see that happen. I can't see Justin Bieber being the hero in one of those 1980s movies. I can't see. I could see Justin Bieber being a douchebag and like being in the corner like eating Cheetos, like being like, oh, too much work. Like there's this woman in a tower. She's like, there's a woman somewhere trapped in a tower, one of Elon Musk's towers or something. I'm just, you know what I mean? I'm just joking. But there's a, you know what I mean? Like I'm just saying there's probably like women out. Okay, I'm not joking. I'm being satirical. I'm being sarcastic. I'm being sarcastic. There we go. Sarcastic. That will get me out of this one. Sarcastic will save the day. Sarcasm will save the day. I'm being sarcastic and maybe ironic. But I just don't see Justin Bieber being that knight in shining armor, right? Now, I could be wrong, and knowing my luck, I would experience lightning on a snowy day. So after me saying that I can't see Justin Bieber being a hero or a knight in shining armor, next thing you know, next week Justin Bieber's probably going to release his new song called Knight in Shining Armor, Hero," where he's like pretending like he's some hero, and now all the women are like, "Oh, they love Justin Bieber, they think he's a hero." But I think he's a douchebag. I've always thought Justin Bieber was a douchebag, and I also think Miley Cyrus is a douchebag, and I think a lot of those singers. And I think Miley Cyrus really is a wrecking ball. You know that song that Miley Cyrus did called Wrecking Ball? I really think Miley Cyrus is a wrecking ball. And, and she's gross. Like, did you see those pictures? Did you see that cover that she did on Rolling Stones where she had her tongue out? You see, Miley Cyrus, she loves to like, like I guess she wants to be a rock star. Yeah, I guess Kiss did it. I guess all of these big rock stars, they used to love to stick their tongue out. But I like Christian rockers. Like I'm more like into Christian rock music. And I do like okay, I'm not gonna, I like Bon Jovi. I don't see Bon Jovi. Maybe he did stick his tongue out a few times. Anyways, I just I think Miley Cyrus, I just don't think her voice, her singing voice is not good enough in my opinion to be a rocker. Okay, let me just say she's very talented. Miley Cyrus is talented. Justin Bieber's talented. They're all talented. They all got like they're all rich elites. They're all rich elites. They're all very talented. They could make anyone disappear. They could probably make anyone disappear. So they're all rich elites. They're all talented. They're a whole network of them rich elites. I'm just gonna say if I'm gonna go play music, I will not be playing Justin Bieber music. I will not be playing Miley Cyrus music. And I especially will never play Taylor Swift music. Taylor Swift music, like she's beyond douchebag. Taylor Swift's a fucking bitch. Taylor Swift has been like, ooh, she doesn't like men. Like imagine all those years Taylor Swift did all that music. Imagine like you're a man, right? You're in a car with a bunch of females, and suddenly a Taylor Swift song comes on, and Taylor Swift's like, men, men. She doesn't like men. And I'm like in an Uber, sharing an Uber in a carpool with like these women, and I'm just like a guy, and I'm like a nice guy, I'm a good guy, and I'm sitting there listening to Taylor Swift cry on and on about how she doesn't like men. Toxic masculinity. That's gonna be Taylor Swift's next album. Taylor Swift's next album is gonna be like toxic masculinity. Men. That guy, that football player cheated on her or something, right? So Taylor Swift, she put out all of this anti-emasculating, all of this. Taylor Swift put off anti-man music. Taylor Swift for many years, she used to criticize men. She used to um, put all of this music, being that was so anti-male, anti-masculine, emasculating music, and so I just, listen, Taylor Swift, she has the freedom of speech to say whatever she wants. I'm not disagreeing with that. She can sing, she can do whatever song she wants. But I also have the freedom of speech to that I don't like her music. I'm not gonna listen to her music. I'm not gonna buy her music. If I'm gonna buy a singer's music, and if she's, at least it's gonna be music that can sing. At least it's gonna be singers that can sing. At least it's gonna be musicians and singers that can sing, right? So that's and As much as Candace Owens right now, Candace Owens is looking at the feds. Is anyone looking at Hollywood? Is anyone looking at these rich elites in Hollywood? Could any of them have motive to be behind what happened to Charlie Kirk? Has anyone really investigated Hollywood right now? Yes, the feds for sure. I kind of already believe that the feds are involved. That the American and Fed. I already believe that the American feds are involved in what happened to Charlie Kirk, 100%. But I also believe that there may be people, certain people from Hollywood who may have had something to do with Charlie Kirk's assassination. So I'll just leave that to Candace Owens. She can go and investigate that. Because, like, I'm from Canada, I don't have the resources to do an investigation. I don't have a I don't have an investigative team backing me. I don't have any, I don't even have a Russian KGB team backing me. Every time I call Putin and the Kremlin, I'd be like, can you send some FSB agents to help me over here in Canada? They're like, nope. I'm like, listen, I need a job, okay? No, 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 I have a job, but like, 7 years ago when I was in Canada and I couldn't even get a job at Tim Hortons. Although I was just been about to say that Tim Hortons is a great job. I would love to work at Tim Hortons. Anyways, I couldn't get a job at Tim Hortons because I'm like, I couldn't get a job at Tim Hortons. I would never work at Tim Hortons, but I couldn't get. Anyways, 7 years ago, I may have applied to CSIS, which is the Canadian Security Intelligence Service. I want to be a CSIS agent, right? So I'm like, hey, maybe I'd be good at being a CSIS agent, a Canadian Security Intelligence Service agent, right? So about 7 or 8 years ago, I submitted an application to CSIS. I'm like, yo, I'm really good with languages. I speak Russian. I speak a bit of Arabic. I speak German. Like, I'm really good with languages. And I submitted my application to CSIS, which is the Canadian Security Intelligence Service. CSIS denied me. Well, they never responded to my application, or maybe they saw my application and now they've been like mocking me, making fun of me for 8 years ever since I applied, about approximately 8 7 years ago. So if anyways, bottom line is I don't work for CSIS. I don't work for the Canadian Security Intelligence Service. So then I was like, well, if CSIS doesn't want to hire me, there's many places, hey, CSIS, like just like if you go to Walmart and well, I guess no, there's really no alternative to shopping at Walmart. I love Walmart, by the way. But yeah, if you go to CSIS and CSIS doesn't want to, oh, for example, if Starbucks doesn't want to hire you, you'd be like, oh, Starbucks, you don't want to hire me? I'll work at Tim Hortons, right? So I was like, hey, CSIS, if you don't want to hire me, the Canadian Security Intelligence Service, then I'll just work for Russia. Starbucks, Tim Hortons, CSIS, the Canadian Security Intelligence Service, Mother Russia, the FSB, the Federalная Служба Безопасности, the Federal Security Service. So I don't work for Russia, obviously. But I did send in my application to the Federal Security Service, the Foreign Service Bureau of Russia, the FSB. I did send in my application because I'm like, well, if Canada won't hire me, maybe Russia will hire me. So anyone can go to the Russian government website and submit an application to work for the Russian FSB, right? I mean, I'm sure they need to hire Canadians. I'm sure Mother Russia needs to hire Canadians. And listen, I'm not saying that you're being a traitor because maybe there's probably positions where you don't have to betray Canada. I would never, ever, ever betray the United States. No, and also I would not betray can. I would never ever betray Canada. I'm just joking. I would never betray the country I love, okay? I would never, ever, ever betray the country I love. I would never betray the country I love. So, bottom line is the FSB, the Federal Service Bureau of Russia, the Federalная Служба Безопасности, I applied and they did not hire me, okay? I am not an FSB agent. I don't work for Mother Russia. I'm not a Russian foreign service agent. I'm not a Russian agent, okay? But that being said, there's plenty of other agencies as well. There's also the German intelligence agency, the French intelligence agency, the Cuban intelligence agency, the Iranian intelligence agency, the Swedish intelligence agency, the Italian, Do Italian are does Italy have an intelligence agency? Oh, that's, yeah, of course the Italians. Of course that the Italians have an intelligence agency too. The Mexican intelligence agency, there's so many. There's to choose from. There's the Ukrainian intelligence agency. There's the British intelligence agency, MI6, MI5. So of course, there's many intelligence agencies. So, like I said, if you apply to Canada, the CSIS, the Canadian Security Intelligence Service, and they don't hire you, there's many intelligence agencies you could apply to. You could apply to Russia, the FSB, the Foreign Service Bureau of Russia, the Federalная служба безопасности. You could have applied to the FSS. China has a security. I wouldn't work for China's security. I would never work for China's intelligence agency because I disagree wholeheartedly with all of China's policies. So I would never work for China's intelligence agency, but China has an intelligence agency. France, the French government has an intelligence agency. So if one intelligence agency doesn't hire you, if Starbucks doesn't hire you, there's always Tim Hortons. You could work at Tim Hortons. If one intelligence agency doesn't hire you, if Canada, the Canadian Security Intelligence Service agency doesn't hire you, then there's Russian intelligence. There's all different intelligence agencies around the world you could work for. Even the CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency, which I can guarantee you would never in a million years hire me. Anyways, okay, let's go back to comments. Someone came in and someone said, release the Epstein files. Yes, definitely. Those they need to release those Epstein files. It's so, I can't believe they're letting those evil rich elites get away with what they did. Those evil rich elites should not be getting away with what they did. They need to release the Epstein files. And they need to arrest those evil rich elites. And all of these people who are trying to demonize Charlie Kirk over his freedom of speech. Meanwhile, there's this whole Epstein list of people on this Epstein list, these rich elites on the Epstein list. And is anyone, I'm just asking a question. I'm just asking a question. Is anyone going after the rich elites on the Epstein list? But meanwhile, you see the media, the left, they're all demonizing Charlie Kirk over his freedom of speech, even celebrating after the assassination, which is, oh my God, I can't believe people would celebrate that. I cannot believe that. I cannot believe that. That's awful. That's awful that people would celebrate something like that. And then, listen, I'm all for freedom of speech, but I also have the freedom of speech to pick and choose what I will celebrate. I don't have to celebrate everything, okay? I definitely did not celebrate Taylor Swift's Eras tour. I do not celebrate any concerts by Taylor Swift. I do not celebrate Taylor Swift. I like personally. I think Taylor Swift is a decent singer, but I'm just she's okay. She can do whatever She can go ahead and do her Taylor Swift music. She's not the worst singer. I will say there are some singers that I've heard much worse than Taylor Swift. So I will give credit to Taylor Swift. She definitely is not the worst singer. I have heard singers that are anyways. But yeah, let's go back to comments. Taylor Swift has good taste in men. Let me say, Taylor Swift, the football player guy, the Super Bowl football player. I will, if I have to say something nice about Taylor Swift, Taylor Swift's got good taste in men because that's an attractive football player. That Super Bowl player, whatever his name is, I don't know. But Taylor Swift can't sing for shit. Taylor Swift should not be given singing lessons, okay? If Taylor Swift doesn't have auto-tune, then I cannot. Taylor Swift, auto-tune is Taylor Swift's best friend. Auto-tune is Taylor Swift's best friend. So that's all I'll say about that. Someone came in and said JD Vance is trash. I don't know if that's true, but I will say that JD Vance is a very good looking man. And he's not creepy like Biden. He's not creepy like Biden. We always, even in Canada, like people just be walking down the street and suddenly like they get this creepy Biden feeling. There's probably like all these Canadians that can just feel the creepiness from Biden, even from all the way in the United States. Like there's other Canadians telling other Canadians, "Don't worry, Biden's all the way in the United States. He's all the way down there." You know, be like, "I know, but just the fact that he's the." We just saw him on television the other day, and I just got creeped out. Just, I saw Biden on Fox News, and I just was got creeped out. So at least JD Vance, he's not creepy like Joe Biden is. So I will say that. Someone came in and kept talking, asking questions about milk. I don't know. I don't even know how to respond to that. I'm not an expert on milk, okay? I'm not an expert on honey either. I'm not an expert on milk. I'm not an expert on honey. I'm definitely not an expert on the honeys. Um, Go Samurai came in. Oh, Go Samurai. Oh, I haven't seen you in a while. Thank you for coming in, Go Samurai. I'm gonna pin your comment. So, some guy named Professor came in. He calls himself Professor Troll. So he comes in and he says something about, oh, laughing at me, my generation. Dude, you don't, I'm in my 30s, dude. And I'm also conservative. Don't get it twisted. Don't misunderstand me, okay? Don't assume that just every Canadian from Canada is liberal. Not all Canadians are liberals. I'm a conservative Canadian. I support Donald Trump. I'm a Trumper. Not a Trumper. Like, I don't. I'm not a Trumper in the sense that I go trumping. I like Donald Trump. Okay, I'm a Trump supporter. Okay, JD Vance. I like JD Vance. I like conservatives. I'm a conservative. I support Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk was a great man. I like Charlie Kirk. I like Megyn Kelly. I like all the other conservatives, Candace Owens, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, Trish Reagan, all the major conservative news people, Tucker Carlson. I really like Tucker Carlson. I'm worried for Tucker Carlson because, Tucker Carlson has big balls and he's using those big balls to talk about Israel. And Israel, after we all suspect and pretty much know that Israel is most definitely behind what happened to, Tucker Carlson is now full on force criticizing Israel. So, I'm praying for Tucker Carlson. I'm praying for everyone. I'm praying for everyone. So, and I'm ultimately for freedom of speech. And like, I was one of the first ones to say it. I do not like Jimmy Kimmel. I don't think Jimmy Kimmel's funny. I don't agree with his politics, and I don't like Jimmy Kimmel. But when I saw that Jimmy Kimmel was canceled, I didn't agree with that either because I'm so for freedom of speech that I was even offended when they canceled. Not offended. I don't like. Okay, let me explain it this way. I'm for freedom of speech, and I don't want to see anyone's freedom of speech get taken away. So I'm for freedom of speech. So. But like at the same time, let me be clear. I do not like Jimmy Kimmel. I don't even watch his TV show. I don't think he's funny. So the free market, I'm sure he's probably losing viewers already. I'm sure Jimmy Kimmel, honestly, he probably did this as a publicity stunt to get viewers. That's probably what happened. That's probably what happened. Jimmy Kimmel was probably about to be canceled anyways, because Jimmy Kimmel's just awful. He's not funny. Especially with YouTube now, and everyone can watch things on YouTube. You could watch old sketches of Matt TV on YouTube. Jimmy Kimmel was probably losing viewers for a while. So he probably did this whole thing as a publicity stunt. I wouldn't be surprised if Jimmy Kimmel, if everyone was in on it, if even the network knew he was going to do it as a publicity stunt. I wouldn't be surprised. Because he probably was already losing ratings to begin with. People probably weren't watching him as much anymore. I never even liked him to begin with. I never thought he was funny. I don't even know if he's packing. Is Jimmy Kimmel packing? You know what I mean? I don't even know if Jimmy Kimmel's packing. I mean, if he's packing, he's packing. You know what I mean? Then if he's packing, that's one thing, right? But I don't even know if I don't even know Jimmy Kimmel like Anyways, I don't like Jimmy Kimmel's politics. Jimmy Kimmel definitely everything Jimmy Kimmel says is unattractive. Everything Jimmy Kimmel says that comes out of his mouth, he's not funny. Like he's not even funny, you know. So like I'm for humor. I'm for free speech. I'm for humor. I just don't think Jimmy Kimmel's funny. I'm not gonna take away his freedom of speech. I would never take Jimmy Kimmel's freedom of speech away. But at the same time, I also have the freedom of speech and the right to just if I don't want to watch Jimmy Kimmel, I'm not gonna watch him. You know. Especially if he's not even packing, right? He's probably packing, anyways. I mean, he's a major guy on television. He's probably packing, anyways. Um, Anthony came in, and Anthony asked me, "Are you a Marxist?" I don't know what that is. I just a few years ago Google searched and researched what a communist was. I didn't know what a communist was for a few years. Um, I had never heard of a nice American before. No. I'm just joking. And I actually do know what a Marxist is. I'm not a Marxist. I'm not a fascist. I'm not a Marxist. I'm not a Nazi. Uh, I'm a nice person. I'm a nice Canadian guy. Nice conservative Canadian guy. Nice conservative guy from Canada. What's really scary, not just Halloween. I actually don't like Halloween. It scares me. I don't like horror movies. Horror movies scare me. I don't like Halloween. Halloween's scary. This world is scary. Anyways, but what's even more scary, it's what's going to happen on October 4th when Saturday Night Live premieres for the new season. I mean, if we just saw what happened to Jimmy Kimmel with what he said about Charlie Kirk. Imagine Saturday Night Live. You know those Saturday Night Live people who are, I secretly suspect they're all Canadians. Well, they do have a lot of Canadians on Saturday Night Live. I mean, Mike Myers was a famous Canadian. They have a lot of Canadians on was Jim Carrey on Saturday Night Live? Not sure if he was ever a cast member. I know Jim Carrey's Canadian. I'm not sure if can't remember if he was ever a cast member on Saturday Night Live. Anyways, so basically Saturday Night Live, they have a lot of Canadians. And just imagine on October 4th when Saturday Night Live premieres its new season. I wonder if they're gonna say anything about Charlie Kirk. I mean, especially Weekend Update. Weekend Update doesn't hold back. Like those Weekend Update people they never hold back. Like, um, remember Amy Poehler and Tina Fey? They were the best. They were my favorite Weekend Update people. Tina Fey and Amy Poehler. You could tell now you know I'm in my 30s because when I'm mentioning Tina Fey and Amy Poehler as part of Weekend Update. So, uh, the Weekend Update people, not right now, I'm pretty sure it's Michael Che and Colin Jost, right? They're the current guys on Weekend Update. They don't hold back. So I just imagine on October 4th, when the premiere of the new season of Saturday Night Live, especially their opening monologue, I'm going to be watching. Like, I haven't watched an episode of Saturday Night Live in years, but I'm going to definitely be watching on October 4th to see what they say about Charlie Kirk, if they say anything, which knowing Saturday Night Live, they probably will. I'm hoping for the sake of the world, like I said, I'm for free speech. I am 100% for free speech. So I'm not going to tell them what they can and cannot say. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to say, oh, they can say this or they can't. I'm not going to say that. All I'm going to say is I'm hoping that what I would like to see, because I have the right to express what I would like to see. I would really like to see Saturday Night Live do a very wholesome, sincere tribute to Charlie Kirk. But like I said, I'm just saying what I would like. I'm not telling Americans what they need to do. I would never, as a Canadian, try to tell Americans they cannot do something. But of course, I have the right with my own free speech. They have the right to their free speech, and I have the right with my free speech that I would say that what I would do, what I would like to see as a viewer, what I would like to see as a viewer is I would like to see Saturday Night Live take the high road. And you know what I mean by high road? I mean like act like men of character, strong, masculine, tall men with character. And also it'd be nice if they were packing too. Men with character who are packing. And if they would be nice and humble and be decent human beings, and if on October 4th, when Saturday Night Live premieres its new episode, I hope we're going to see a Saturday Night Live that does the right thing, is all I'll say. Like I said, I'm Canadian, and I'm not going to tell Americans what they can't do. Never would I dictate to Americans what they should or shouldn't. Well, I'm not going to tell Americans they can't do something. But I also have the right as a Canadian to say that this is what I would do as a Canadian. This is my beliefs as a Canadian. I have free speech as well. So I have the right to have an opinion as a Canadian. This is my free speech. But I would never, ever tell an American. Anyways, you get what I'm saying. So I would never, ever tell an American that they're fat to their face. Actually, that's true. I don't think I would have the guts to, especially in Texas with all, those guys in. Listen, I'm conservative. I'm very conservative, but you got to admit there's a lot of Americans that are really fat. Now that's a joke. Saturday Night, there's actually, wait a minute. Hey, Saturday Night Live. This would solve everyone's problem. On October 4th, Saturday Night Live, what they should do is just make a whole bunch of jokes about Texas and the fatties in Texas. And then when Texas does what Texas is gonna do to Saturday Night Live, like not watch anymore. When people from Texas stop watching, because Texans are viewers, they have TVs, right? They have TV, they have televisions in Texas. They probably don't get the Saturday Night Live channel, but when Texans watch Saturday Night Live and then the Saturday Night Live people make fun of Texans, then Texans from Texas will stop watching. They will stop watching and maybe do other stuff. Like stop watching when the Texans from Texas see all the jokes that the Saturday Night Live people make about uh, fat Texans or Texas fatties. Then the next day, the news will be talking about another comedy sketch, really bad comedy sketch from Saturday Night Live, when the Saturday Night Live people actually thought it was funny to make fun of Texas fatties. Hey, Saturday Night Live, maybe you should just talk about Jimmy Kimmel. Actually, yeah, Saturday Night Live, what you should do on October 4th is you should have Jimmy Kimmel just like, I don't know, walk around naked or something. I don't know, just Saturday Night Live, just do something with Jimmy Kimmel, okay? Just leave the Texans alone. Saturday Night Live, Saturday Night Live, leave the Texas fatties alone. Make sure you be like, I'm not gonna tell Americans what they should or should not do. I'm just gonna say what I would do. I would be a decent human being. Even better, I'd be a good human being. Okay, I'm a good person and I want to get into heaven. Saturday Night Live, just remember, just ask yourself this question. Do you want to get into heaven? No, don't make a comedy sketch about heaven. Don't start making fun about heaven too. Oh my God, Saturday Night Live people. So, anyways, this is why I don't do comedy anymore. Or, I mean, I'm a freelance comedian. I do comedy, but I'm a freelance comedian. This is why anyways, this is why I definitely am not a cast member on Saturday Night Live because Saturday Night Live sucks. I love Mad TV. Mad TV was the best. Mad TV, one of the major victims of cancel culture. Mad TV was canceled. Mad TV was a victim of cancel culture. They canceled Mad TV. Mad TV was funny. Mad TV was way better than Saturday Night Live. So, why God? Why God? Please answer God. Why is Saturday Night Live still on the air, but Mad TV's canceled? Why? And then people are gonna be like, God works in mysterious ways. Well, God, hey, God, is this a joke to you? You actually think Saturday Night Live is funny? Is God up in heaven? Is he watching Saturday Night Live laughing? You think these people are funny? So. I no, I know, you know who thinks Saturday Night Live is funny? Satan. Satan is the one who's probably laughing. He's down there in Florida somewhere. I don't know where Satan is. I just know that down is that way and America's down that way. I'm from Canada. I'm up here in Canada and Americans are down that way. So anyway, Satan's down there somewhere in hell, right? And Satan probably thinks Saturday Night Live is funny, but I don't think Saturday Night Live is funny. I mean, like I said, Saturday Night Live, they have their free speech. And, I have to say, there were a couple sketches I saw on Saturday Night Live which were pretty funny. But overall, I would have to say 9 out of 10 sketches, 80% I would 80% of the time I would estimate 80% of the time, Saturday Night Live is not funny, in my opinion. 80% of the time. But I will, like I said, I always like to find something nice to say about everyone. And I will say that on occasion, I have actually seen some funny sketches from Saturday Night Live. Rarely, though, not many. So, Saturday Night Live, they're not my favorite. I don't really like them too much. But I will be watching on October 4th because I want to see what they're going to say. I want to see what Saturday Night Live is going to say so badly on October 4th. Like, and especially what's going to happen on October 5th when the media picks it up, whatever happens on October 4th. So, anyways, I, I think Saturday Night Live is the men are not like ugly, right? Like another nice thing. I guess I could find another nice thing to say about Saturday Night Live. I think Colin Jost is actually a handsome man, you know, and he's married to Scarlett Johansson. Hey, did you realize that Colin Jost from Weekend Update, he's married to Scarlett Johansson? Scarlett Johansson is gorgeous. Like Scarlett Johansson, she is like one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen. And I'm a homosexual. I'm a gay man. And I will admit that Scarlett Johansson is gorgeous. And she's married to Colin Jost. And Scarlett Johansson could get any guy she wants. I mean, Scarlett Johansson could get James Bond 007. Scarlett Johansson could get, you know, a British MI6 agent, James Bond 007. Scarlett Johansson could get any guy she wants, and she's with Colin Jost. So if anyone's packing, it's probably Colin Jost. He must be packing. I'm sure women look for other qualities in men other than the fact that they're packing. But like, come on, okay, no, like, come on, let's admit it. He's got to be packing. If Colin Jost is not packing, I will be shocked. That would be shocked. And Scarlett Johansson would be with Colin Jost even if he wasn't packing. No, Colin Jost has to be packing. In fact, this needs to be like one of those investigated mysteries. Okay, why is Scarlett Johansson one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen with Colin Jost? Because he's definitely not that funny. I've watched Colin Jost and I wouldn't call him funny. I don't think Scarlett Johansson is with Colin Jost for the jokes. I don't. I mean, Colin Jost. He's more of a political satire, like like he's not. I've never really watched Colin Jost and like actually laughed out loud laughing. I've never really laughed out loud laughing watching Colin Jost. I don't see Colin Jost as super funny, so I doubt that Scarlett Johansson sees Colin Jost as like the funniest guy in the world. So in my opinion, he's got to be packing. He's probably packing, but I don't say he's rich because Scarlett Johansson, she's filthy rich. Scarlett Johansson, like Scarlett Johansson, she's the breadwinner in that relationship. Scarlett Johansson, clearly, she's much richer than Colin Jost. So I have a theory that Colin Jost must be packing. If Colin Jost is not packing and he's with Taylor Swift, then this world doesn't make sense. Anyways, oh, and did I say just now Taylor Swift? What I meant to say, if Colin Jost is not packing and he's with Scarlett Johansson, if Colin Jost is not packing and he's still with Scarlett Johansson, oh my God, like then this world doesn't make sense because Scarlett Johansson is one of the most beautiful women in the world. She's gorgeous, and she's with Colin Jost, and Colin Jost, he's got to be packing, okay? Like, you know. Anyways. I'm gonna be watching on Saturday Night Live because I desperately want to see what they're gonna say about you know what, right? And how they're gonna go about saying it, and if they're gonna to make any jokes about it, and if they're even gonna be, they're definitely probably not gonna be funny jokes, that's for sure. So knowing Saturday Night Live, they'll probably screw it up. They probably won't come off as funny. They're gonna in the Saturday Night Live comedy writers in the writing room, the Saturday Night Live comedy writers, they're gonna think it's so funny. They're gonna write it down on paper and they're thinking, oh, this is gonna be so funny. They're gonna have their best comedian deliver the punchline. And if that were the case, they'd have Kristen Wiig. Kristen Wiig, I have to admit, was pretty funny. I like Kristen Wiig. Kristen Wiig from Bridesmaids. I actually liked her. She was a good comedian. I like Kristen Wiig. I like Kristen Wiig from Saturday Night Live. She was actually funny. So if they had her, do the jokes, then maybe they could pull it off. But knowing Saturday Night Live, the those those communists, those comedy writers on Saturday Night Live, knowing Saturday Night Live, they're gonna write it down on paper, thinking the joke's so funny, and then they go and say the joke in the opening monologue of Saturday Night Live, and then it's gonna just, oh my God, it's gonna be a wrecking ball like Miley Cyrus. It's gonna be like the wrecking ball song, Miley Cyrus. She's like, she came in like a wrecking ball. That Saturday Night Live joke is probably gonna be a wrecking ball, and The next day, America will be. Anyways, so. So I asked a bunch of Canadians, right? Because Canada, we have our own social media platforms. There's a Canadian social media platform which is it's allows only Canadians. So I was on it the other day, and I'm barely on it, if you know what I mean. I was on it the other day, and I was asking fellow Canadians. I was like, so what's going on for Halloween? Do you guys agree with what they're going to be doing maybe in the States, etc.? And Canadians, they're so divided right now because half the Canadians they were supporting Charlie Kirk, the other half the Canadians they didn't support Charlie Kirk, but they don't agree with what happened to him, right? And so I was asking Canadians what are they planning, and a lot of Canadians, honestly, a lot of Canadians just they only care about themselves and putting money in their pockets, right? Money, money, money. That's a lot of people around the world. A lot of people, I'm sure, Russians, Russians are not in Russia crying over Americans, you know. When Americans get assassinated, I don't see the Russians or the Germans or the Japanese or the Mexicans or the Cubans or the Canadians. No, no, definitely the Canadians. We're definitely Canadians, of course, we're definitely empathetic to what's going on right now in the United States, especially Canadians like me, conservative Canadians who are for freedom of speech. We definitely don't agree with people getting canceled or anything else happening to them for their freedom of speech. I'm especially, as a conservative Canadian, I'm 100% for freedom of speech. I'm pro freedom of speech. I love freedom of speech, and I support Charlie Kirk. I was a big fan of Charlie Kirk. I'm a big fan of Candace Owens, big fan of Megyn Kelly, big fan of Tucker Carlson, big fan of Trish Reagan. I like JD Vance, Trump. I like all the conservatives. I'm a conservative Canadian. So, but unfortunately, the rest of the world, I mean, I don't think they really care, especially about Canada. I know Russia doesn't care about Canada. I'm always like using my Russian language skills to talk to Russians, and I always like to like ask them, "Hey, what do you guys think about Canada? Do you guys trust us? Do you guys suspect us of anything?" If I'm from Canada and I have a Canadian passport and I go to Russia on vacation because I want to go to Moscow, who doesn't want to freeze their ass off in the middle of in the middle of summertime in Moscow? Who else doesn't want to go to really cold Russia, right? Obviously, I'm not a Canadian spy. Obviously, I'm going to Russia because, well, not to be with the Russian women, but I just want to make friends with Russian guys, okay? I want to go to the Russian sauna. I want to go to the Russian sauna with those Russian guys, right? Hello, I'm from Russia. I'm Russian. I'm a strong man from Russia. I'm from Russia. I'm from Russia, right? So I'm from Russia. I'm a strong man from Russia. Anyways, I'm usually better at doing my Russian accent, but not anyways. So, anyways, I was asking the Russians like, hey, what if I went to Russia, right? How do Russians feel about Canadians, right? And they pretty much say the same thing. They feel the same about the way they feel about all Westerners. I'm like, okay, it was nice talking to you. I think next year I'll be going to Hawaii. Probably not Hawaii. I don't like it actually too hot. I don't like hot climates. I don't. It's too hot. Hawaii would be too hot. Aloha. I would actually go probably to Switzerland. I would go snowboarding or skiing. I love snow. I love doing snow activities. I love going snowboarding, skiing. I probably would go skiing in Switzerland. Remember like that James Bond movie where he was like Daniel Craig and he's on the slopes. He's like skiing down the slopes in not Switzerland, but anyway somewhere. And he's skiing on the slopes, the snow slopes, the slopes, right? So I like to go skiing. I like to go snowboarding. I like winter activities. I'd probably go to Switzerland to go skiing or something in Switzerland. But yeah, no, I definitely will not be going to Russia anytime soon. Especially, I mean, you know what? You know what's extremely weird too? All of these Americans for years, they're always, every time they even suspect that Russia could be involved, they're like just immediately pointing the finger at Russia, right? Did, so now that Charlie Kirk was assassinated, I haven't seen anyone point the finger at Russia. Not even the typical Russia haters that are always pointing the finger at Russia. Even when it's not Russia, they're still pointing the finger at Russia. Heck, I was watching that new comedy, which is great. The new comedy movie called Bride Hard. Bride Hard. I have to say it very carefully because no, no. What I'm saying is sometimes when I say Bride Hard, when they go to I notice when they go to translate it. Oh.